Malcolm, there certainly is a lot of news on the Russia side, which, you never know what's related to what. But obviously, we found out this morning the FBI did a pre-dawn raid at Paul Manafort's house and got. We hear that Trump is sending private messages to Bob Mueller. And we know that Devin Nunes sent people without telling Democrats on the panel over to do what appears to be intimidate Christopher Steele, right? Or Michael Steele, excuse
Right.
me. Yeah.
Christopher Steele.
Christopher Steele,
And,
yeah. Yeah.
Well, can I don't often get a chance to pat myself on the back and plug my Nanstradamus bona fides. But if you recall on your show in studio, I said about, 4 weeks ago, that the single most important event you should look out for, which will tell you who is not cooperating in this probe, would be FBI raids on the offices of either Paul Manafort or Michael Flynn. And now, literally minutes before we called for this phone call, I read that Washington Post report too. Manafort's offices are being raided.
Yeah.
So, right there, that tells you not only is Mueller on the case, as I've said from the very beginning, but this thing is going into a critical phase. When they start raiding your offices for documents, they think that you're lying. They think that you are hiding information, and they are going to make a manifestly obvious, embarrassing, and humiliating show of bringing out the U.S. Marshals and the FBI to walk out with dollies full of boxes of information that you did not want the world to know. This is accelerating, and I think that since Manafort is campaign chair, it can only get worse.
And you heard that the Justice Department just released Bob Mueller's financial disclosure.
Yeah,
I mean,
$3.5 million.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, but I mean, this is insane at this point, right? I mean, you don't know whether he's alternately trying to charm him or intimidate him again, or try to push this ridiculous conflict of interest line, right?
Well, yeah, and it's that's just another line of inquiry that Mueller can actually go and see if it was an attempt at obstructing justice. This guy is a modern 21st century era Elliot Ness. And I don't think that he is going to be intimidated by anybody. If anything, it's just going to piss him off, and he's going to hire another career prosecutor to start going after that line of inquiry.
And all these BS things they're throwing out, like, he can't get a fair grand jury in D.C., as you tweeted, I'm guessing don't be committing crimes in the district and you won't be indicted there, just a guess. I mean, of course grand juries are seated.
If you want a grand jury in West Virginia, go commit some crimes in West Virginia.
I'm sure he'll get to it.
It's called the law. It stems from freaking English common law, with the Magna Carta. I mean, these people they want to conveniently change the Constitution and the rules for themselves. And they cannot cry when the long arm of the law stretches itself out and, lives by our values. Just amazing.
Well, and as you tweeted, you say, I can tweet this every day. This investigation is not a normal FBI investigation. It's a spy hunt. And, again, Malcolm, I feel like we're in a race against the clock more than ever now with this North Korea thing. And I'm glad to hear you say it as a 35-year intelligence professional that, as we say, we have been through this where intelligence was cherry-picked and twisted and, the Bush administration flat out lied about some of it. And I don't think anybody trusted this White House to tell us the truth.
Sure, and it's hard to believe them. I mean, you have a president who's has been called a pathological liar, where quantifiably virtually everything he says cannot be believed. I mean, this morning's tweets that he put out about modernizing the nuclear, weapons program in the United States, he didn't do that. Barack Obama signed that legislation and got the allocation of $1 trillion of funds there. So when he comes out and says, we have information about North Korea and we're going to do something about it, starts paraphrasing Harry Truman before he bombed Nagasaki, we need to take a step back and have a deep, sober analysis of this, because this is no longer a game, okay? We're talking about nuclear weapons, atomic weapons, and viability of their being used. And it's not, in that statement by Trump is the United States threatening to use atomic bombs against another nation, and not apparently caring about the consequences for South Korea, which could get nuked, China, Japan, or even our facilities on Guam.
Yeah. Malcolm, quick before you go, I know you have a heart out today, but you also tweeted there's an entire fifth column of alt-right pundits accepting leads from Russian intelligence bot networks Senate Intel Committee is investigating. And as Senator Warner said this week, like we are completely unprepared to address this because we have a president that will not even admit that this has happened and is happening.
Absolutely right, Steffi. And as a matter of fact, my next book was about this, the plot to destroy democracy, this overall plan to get rid of liberal democracy in Western Europe and America that had been hatched by Vladimir Putin and his philosophers. But now, there's another book here I'm going to have to do.
Aye.
We call this marionetting. And this happened to Joy Reid and I during the Politicon conference 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Russian bots from St. Petersburg, which we tracked back to St. Petersburg, Russia, were acting as if they were alt-right people in Southern California, encouraging them to come witness an assassination attempt on me and some incident against Joy Reid. And they literally were marionetting Americans through this bot network come and see what they thought would be an act of political violence and to bring their voices and fists to our conference.
Oh, man.
This is a danger that no one thought would be viable because we thought that people would use common sense. But now we understand that even President Trump is easily manipulated by Russian bots, and he likes their message.
Yeah. Well, you come from my Joy Reid and my Malcolm Nance. You come for me, and I'm just a skinny white chick in my basement, but I will you up. Malcolm Nance, thank you for the 11 minutes a day that you are not on television. You must go now. I love you.
Okay, talk to you soon.
Thank you for your service, sir. All right.
I was hoping I never had to look at Boris Epstein's face again, but he's back.